But he's a man who fights crime, and we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time with John and Niall, and I guess you just rhyme with Bat Minute!
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Bat Minute and Robin. It's the podcast where we come and look at every minute of Batman and Robin, if we can. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
And I am your resident fixer-upper, your other host, John Parker.
But you do have a certain homey charm, John. So.
I have got a certain Mae West charm.
Yeah. But also this week we're joined once again, as is our wont, by a guest here to talk about a movie people would consider horrific. It's an expert in horror films and, I would say, cinema in general. We have the host of the Final Girls podcast, Anna Bogutskaya.
Hi. Hey, guys.
Yeah, Thank you for hopping on.
It's my absolute pleasure. Thank you for making me revisit this absolute monstrosity.
We do need to ask every guest their opinions on the movie as a whole. We could come up naturally, but let's just get it out of the way. Do you hate it? Do you love it? It's very divisive.
Actually, a bit of both. This film is kind of wrapped up in childhood nostalgia for me. You know, when you just watch stuff because they're there, because it's there, and you don't really get if it's bad or not. You're just colors, neons, nipples, and you're like, oh, all of this is very exciting, and the camera is doing whoosh whoosh. So I used to watch this film and all the Batman films and a lot of the sort of 90s first attempted wave of superhero films a lot. And I really loved Poison Ivy. I really liked all the colors, the extravagance of it, but I didn't get the campiness. I think I got it instinctually, but I didn't understand it really. Yeah. And when I rewatched it a few years ago, I was like, holy shit. By the way, can I swear on this?
Oh, you can. We just beep it
out. Okay. I was like, oh my God, this is pure retro campiness. This is all throwbacks to classic Hollywood cinema. This is all throwbacks to pre-code cinema. This is giving me big Mae West vibes. And I loved it even more for that. I mean, it is not good, but I think it has such a charm, and I think it works on a campy level that I personally really appreciate. It feels like much more of a film that sort of should have existed in the 1930s before the Hays Code came into play, or even kind of in that I think the Batman series with Adam West was in the 60s.
So totally
it's that vibe. So frankly, applying the Nolan bro approach to Batman and Robin, I think is unfair to Batman and Robin and Joel Schumacher, because this is it's totally different. It's a completely different product. Let's not try to look at it through the lens of gritty, realistic, tortured superhero movies and look at it as essentially a camp soap opera.
Yeah, I think the time is right to revisit this film, everybody. I mean, that's what we're doing. But all of you, your listeners and your friends, get them all to rewatch this, because I think it gets better with age.
Yeah. This minute this is minute 58 of Batman and Robin, and it begins with Ivy and Bane sort of examining their new homestead, and it ends a minute later with them about to undertake some renovations.
Ooh, the Queer Eye magic at work.
Yeah. So we get jump straight in here, though. We do get the gang last week, as we discovered they were called the Golems in the script. I'm still very much of the mindset that these guys are secret nerds, because if calling yourself the Golems after Lord of the Rings, the fact that they're drinking blue milk is well, that's they're Star Wars guys. They're not out there terrorizing the streets. These guys are trying to hide out quietly, listening to Goo Goo Dolls.
It's just a very extravagant, very elaborate Dungeons and Dragons game.
Oh, that's what they're doing.
And then this lady comes in, be like, "Hi, excuse me, I'm gonna take over your place now. I'm gonna redecorate. This is mine now. Hello, goodbye. And also I'm gonna beat you up." She's a bully.
Yeah. She's the one coming in to steal their lunch money and.
Well, you know what? That's what happens when people are bullied. They become the bully.
Well, that's what happened with Poison Ivy, technically, really.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in fact, even the guys are wearing like face paint and stuff like that. It's like this guy on a throne. It's like he's clearly the dungeon master. There's a whole lot of stuff going on here, but we'll say that the barrage of neon coloring that's going on in here too. I think very distinctly different from that was in the script and in the novelization, where they come in and the place seems like it's empty, and it turns out that these guys are all hiding in the shadows, ready to attack. And that's more like, in the script that specifically calls them the golems, as if like, it's a creepy underdwelling, shadowy figure, whereas maybe Joel Schumacher's like, nope, we're gonna plaster them in lime greens and
and also make them dramatically jump instead of walk, because my favorite thing about when we see in this minute this guy jumps down from his throne by literally pogo jumping from one little boulder to another, and it's so unnecessary.
I think it's like an ADD thing, because I do that. I do it all the time.
I think if you're presented with a little staircase, it's almost hard not to be like, I'm gonna just have a little hop.
I'm sorry, I'm just boring. I just boring old walk downstairs. I stand corrected.
Gonna find out that if you change your life, Anna would just hop down some stairs, and then we see like the headline that's like "Film critic injured by throwing herself downstairs."
Reference to Batman and Robin, minute 58.
I know that they're kind of going for almost like a Mexican sort of sugar scully vibe, but at the same time, it just makes me think of luchadore wrestlers again. So it makes sense that they're up against Bane. They've got a Rey Mysterio thing going on.
Yeah, this again would make more sense if, as we discussed there at the end of the last minute, like if Poison Ivy pheromoned these guys and they became her gang.
That is exactly what should be happening in this scene. Why is that not what happens?
And they could all wear Bane masks, but painted in these colors.
Yeah.
So that's kind of best of both worlds. And it's like, no, for whatever reason, it's a whole lot of things. You're like, well, why didn't they...
I think Poison Ivy, or really anyone in this film, is very good at planning or project management. So maybe that's why.
And her whole thing is that she can sort of seduce her way into any scenario. Why is she settling for like a hovel? Why wouldn't she go to like the Gotham Grand and just pheromone the guys there and be like, give me the suite on the top floor. That's where I'm staying. But she decides, like, no, I'm going to go down and live in dirt, basically. Yeah. Although, to be fair, I guess she is half plant or whatever. Maybe she feels more comfortable in dirt.
That's true. And she can grow plants from dirt. So I guess she wants to be close to the soil. That does kind of make sense.
There's
a lot wants to be close to the earth. Yeah.
Because it is a bathhouse, after all. Yeah. And a bathhouse is the most sensual of all locations.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But I had a similar kind of note, though, Niall. Because I was thinking, like, why do people become villains in this world and then instantly accept dank pits as their bases? Because you would think that comes in time as they slowly, like, get worse and worse. But she's only been on the outskirts of society for a matter of, I don't know, days?
That's it at this point. Because you can understand it if it's like, Two-Face hiding out, so he needs to find somewhere where no one knows where he is. But like, no, Poison Ivy's not done anything yet.
No,
she's not been hunted for, so she could be like, just swagger about and go wherever she wants. But she's choosing like, I guess, I got no money, so I gotta live somewhere free, I suppose.
But she can seduce people. So you must have hit the nail on the head. It must be she needs somewhere with dirt and water that's hidden.
To be fair, the next minute, Bane does start breaking up the floor so she can get specifically at that. So she's going in right for the roots, as it were.
She's basically trying to create like a greenhouse layer for herself. So she needs the dampiness and the running water and the soil.
I was very upset, though, that she then says, a minus, current tenants. Because, like, did the estate agent not tell you this? They really dropped the ball here, I think.
Do you know what? I don't trust estate agents for a second, so I would not be surprised that they'll be like, yes, we've got this great, like, open plan space for you, Miss Ivy. It's got there's not that much light, but it's got a great atmosphere. I think you'll really like it.
It's almost like there's lights as long as you paint everything neon. Then that kind of acts like a light, I suppose.
Hey, I'm into it. It works. There's that place in town now, Ghetto Golf, where it's like it's a miniature golf place that looks like this. It's all black light and neon.
I should go for a game someday. Go in, just be like, hello, my pretty, pretty. And then they'll be like, sir, can you leave and never return to Crazy Gulls?
Oh, I need to bring that up as well, right? He instantly, he's letting all men across the world down here because he instantly becomes a weird, creepy perv. She hasn't even like seduced him or anything. He's hello, my pretty, pretty, pretty. It's almost like Hannibal. The way he like
it is very Hannibal.
Yeah, letting all Lord of the Rings fans down as well, because they are the Gollums. Why isn't he like, hello, my precious?
Oh.
It's right there.
Oh,
I'm getting the vibe Joel Schumacher never read that book. Because, like, you know, when he was growing up, you know, the 60s and 70s, he was just a crazed sex drug addict. So maybe he's like, I don't have the time to read. He's just like 1,000 pages. You crazy?
this nerd book. I'm not reading that.
So he's like, what are they called? We'll never mention their name in the movie. It doesn't matter anyway. I can do whatever I want with them now.
I want to do our own spin-off. I want the Gollums to be like fighting a rival gang, the Smeagol's.
And it was like they were originally one gang. Now they split up.
Yeah.
Like, oh, God damn it.
amazing.
No, I don't like him becoming an instant weird, creepy perv, but I do like how she deals with it.
Yeah. Should have mentioned, speaking of this guy being a weird, creepy perv.
Oh,
maybe,
yeah.
do you? I know I spoke to you briefly in the green room, John, about who this guy is, but do you know this actor, Anna?
No, who is he? Is he someone we should know?
He is. He's like a guy you almost definitely will be like, oh, that guy. This is Doug Hitchinson, who most famously played Victor Toombs in The X-Files.
The best X-Files episodes.
Oh
with
my
Toombs.
God.
Yeah, that's the stretchy guy. And he was also Percy in The Green Mile. He was the guard that everybody hated.
Yes.
Put the dry sponge in that one dude's head and the most horrific execution possible.
Oh my God, he's also the one with the weird marriage, isn't he?
Ah, right.
That's
The thing. I said to
yeah.
Niall when he mentioned who he was. Like, I was like, well, why didn't this guy have a bigger career? Those are two wonderful, amazing things. There's a reason, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, at the age of 51, he married the 16-year-old country singer / actress Courtney Stodden or Stojan.
Stodden.
And apparently, yeah, he's gone on record saying like his own family disowned him. They consider him to be a pedophile. It obviously did a lot of damage for his career. I think the best things he got afterwards were like appearances on Celebrity Big Brother with her, because it was such a tabloid thing in America. And they're separated now, but they did stay together for like 10 odd years. But it's so odd to see now, like, oh, they're divorced. She's currently 26. He's 61. It's like, you've been married to a guy for 10 years and you're only 26. It's like, I don't know, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's messed up to me. But
Not great, is it? And I'm just looking at his filmography now, and he made The Green Mile like a couple of years after Batman and Robin. Really big step up for him.
Yeah, that is a big, because he doesn't really have a lot to do in this, and you don't even know it's him.
I think one of the other things he worked on previously was A Time to Kill. So imagine it was Joel Schumacher was just like, hey, you want to be in a movie? Oh, you can be in a Batman movie. Why not?
Yeah, you're pretty creepy.
Yeah. I could have been the thing. You're a real creep. Why don't you be the creepy guy in my movie? Like, okay.
Well, I looked up a little thing as well, because Courtney Stodden, actually, they are non-binary. I don't know if they use they pronouns, because this article saying that they're non-binary keeps using she pronouns, but it's like, I don't know. But they've said that the marriage made them feel groomed. So she's, you know, they didn't split up amicably. I think she realized this is kind of weird.
In his IMDb trivia, it flat out says he groomed actress Courtney Stodden. It's like,
wow.
Well, yeah, he's not gone in and changed it, so.
So I guess the creepy vibes is giving off is like a very 20-year-old method acting thing.
Yeah.
Jesus, yeah.
That's why he married Courtney. He's like, well, I want to really get into this role, this creepy role for Batman.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
I think he's even like, he taught her. They met by him teaching a class. I was like, oh, he's our teacher as well. Like, oh, come on, man. Has he got
that's way messed up.
Yeah. If it could possibly have been any worse, it just got worse. Like, you've got a position of power there.
But other things he's appeared in include Shaft with Christian Bale, of course, go on to be Batman. The Chocolate War with John Glover, who of course was Jason Woodrue earlier in this very film. Con Air, The Lawnmower Man.
Oh,
Kind of an old favorite of mine.
Yeah.
And The Punisher 2 Warzone, which we're going to bring up later in the episode, because there's another sort of breaking Bat-Minute news that we've got related to Punisher Warzone. One positive thing I found about him was apparently he was the front man for a band called the Yeet. Apparently they're based on like the B-52s. That's what he was going for.
Okay.
And they brought out a song called Vampire Chickens.
Amazing.
Which I found on YouTube, and it actually is really good. Like it's just a bit of a weird kind of what do we call them, like Primus, that kind of vibe. It's very 90s weird.
Like weird,
indie stuff.
Stonery rock kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah. So I had a great time for the song. So Vampire Chickens by the Yeet. I can recommend that, but everything else about Doug Hitchinson, beyond his work in The Green Mile, where he was suitably a repulsive character.
Well, plus in the X-Files, he's probably, to me at least, to people who grew up with it like I did, he's the memorable villain. I think of Toombs more than anything else in the X-Files, other than UFOs.
He was like the people don't know, he was like the stretchy guy. He could squeeze through tight spaces, and I think he was like recurred twice in one season. Like they were so popular, get him back in before the show's done.
Well, because it fit the story as well, because he has to hibernate, because he has to steal people's livers, if I remember. That's why he's yellow.
Going for the Hannibal thing as well. I gotta get them with some fava beans. Although he's having a nice blue WKD here rather than a Chianti, but whatever.
We've said some positive things, but let's leave it on a neutral note. I found a quote from him which is so blind and also hilarious, because he spoke to Fox News, of course he did, in 2020.
Fox Mulder? What?
He spoke to Fox Mulder, and he said, "She was 16 and I was 50, so I knew our union was going to turn heads." Blaming the union, and then he goes on to blame the union more. I was blacklisted by the union. No, I don't think that's what it is, man. I don't think it's a union
sure if you were
issue.
talking about. I thought he was talking about the union of the two of them, but you're thinking he's talking about the union, like the actors, like the Screen Actors
he
Guild.
meant the
or
two
something.
of them initially, and then goes on to say like that they was. So he means both. Like he means their union, and then he means like as in the industry.
Oh,
so
man.
it's like a double whammy of like, what the hell are you talking about? Because he's like, casting directors wouldn't speak to him. Like, well, no, they wouldn't, because you're weird.
But very happy you're here, Anna, though, for us to ruin the actor, introduce you to the wide berth of Doug Hitchinson, and then ruin him for you for the rest of.
I thought it was coming on to talk about like Batman and Robin and like fun campy stuff and Poison Ivy, and now you're just like, let's talk about this pedophile.
Well, it gets even more more unpleasant, but there's
Jesus.
something because as the minute goes on, of course, people, his gang, his minions go to approach Ivy. And they just take out neon chains to, do the old, because you call them a chain gang of sorts. Do that. But this is a bit of, I guess we could say we broke this story as a thing, because obviously, because we covered all of Batman Forever, we're halfway through this movie. We've spoken nothing but highly of Joel Schumacher. Seemed to be a lovely man, all regards. Never heard a bad word said against him. But last season we had on the journalist Maria Lewis, and she said like, "Oh yeah, my friend Lexi Alexander worked on Batman and Robin. I think her scene got cut, but she was doing something with like whips or something." And we were like, "Oh, it must be like maybe the scene of Poison Ivy doing Vine work or something," because like Lexi Alexander, who you know now, she is the director of Punisher, Warzone, Green Street Hooligans, as I believe it's called in America.
Oh.
And she did stunt work originally. And much like we got, response from Neil Gaiman earlier in the season on Twitter, I was like, you know what? Let's just go and ask Lexi Alexander, like, what was her scene in Batman and Robin? What did she do in the movie? And so I sent her a tweet saying, we're a podcast looking at the Batman movies, et cetera, et cetera. We had heard that you did stunt work on that movie in a deleted scene involving a whip. Can you verify if that's true? And are there any details you can tell us? And she got back saying, "True. I was a stunt actor playing a golem, in the Gollum gang, led by Doug Hitchinson. And we had to use whip chains, and I had to teach the rest of the gang how to use the whip chain. Then Joel Schumacher replaced me with a male stuntman, no reason given. Doug Hitchinson wrote me the nicest card when he found out that I was fired. He apologized for the ugliness of the industry and told me that all the best ones get fired. I never forgot his kind words, so I cast him as LBJ in Punisher Warzone. The funny thing was that our costumes were so thick and baggy, you couldn't tell there was a girl in the Gollum gang. Apparently, Pat Johnson, the stunt choreographer, assumed he was going to be allowed to cast a girl as a Gollum member, especially since I was the one with the whip chain skills. But when Joel heard my voice, he was outraged.
What?
I have 50 similar stories if you want to hear them. Hollywood is a battlefield. I don't think that scene was deleted. I still get residual checks. And it's like, oh, so Joel Schumacher found out that there was a girl in a scene where he didn't want girls, and he fired her. And I was like, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, plus it would be really
that's
cool having one of
terrible.
them like be a woman. I think that'd be great. But don't change the attire.
Yeah.
Leave it
Yeah.
as is. Yeah.
You don't need a lady golem. Just they're all wearing hoodies and intense face makeup. Just leave it at that. What's the problem?
That's cool.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I will say, knowing that now, this, when he is doing the finger wiggle and like, my pretty, in the back left, if you're looking for Lexi Alexander, there is a much more slender looking goon who does their use of the chain seems to be much fancier than the rest of them.
Yeah, they know what
I
they're doing.
wouldn't be
Yes.
surprised if that's Lexi Alexander that we see in the background there.
I think it might be her. Yeah, you're right.
It's our headcanon now. Put it in the wiki, people.
Yeah, but yeah, that was just really, like, after so much nice things we had to say about Joel Schumacher, and since then you've seen even like stories of since he passed with I think within the same week I saw a story from Julia Margulies, who was in ER, saying like, oh yeah, I always remember Joel because I worked as a waitress and I had to serve the cast of Flatliners one day when they came in, and there's like 20 of them. And they were just a nightmare. Everyone was hopping from seat to seat, and it was just, complete cacophony, a real hell of an evening. And then I was already tipped well, but after they left, Joel Schumacher came back in with a $100 bill, handed it to me, and said, "I know you pull all your tips, but this is specifically for you because that was such a rough experience. And he was such a nice man." And all that. You're like, that's the Joel we've been hearing about all the time. But apparently,
Wow.
there is a darker side to him as well.
Everyone
which
is multifaceted.
That's true. Yeah.
Two
So.
things can be true at once. It can be very nice and also not so nice sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've ruined Doug Hitchinson. Although Lexi Alexander almost redeemed him there with that story about the card, and then ruined Joel Schumacher. So
Never. Joel will live on.
yeah, but this is the last episode of Batman, Batman and Robin.
Oh.
Yeah, you can expect your multiple lawsuits in mail very sharpish on Monday.
Come at us, bros. Come on, bring it on. Speaking of being confident of victory, I really like how Ivy, she's not scared one bit, not one iota, because she knows that not only could she take these guys, but, she's got Bane on top of that as well.
Yeah,
These people
yeah.
have no chance. So I just, her confidence, it radiates. She's always a confident character. It's very good. And when he says another creepy line, doesn't he? He's like, "You look good enough to eat." It's like, oh, Jesus. But she's got the best comeback. "That I am. Come and get me
She's
if
got
you
the
can."
Best comebacks ever. Like every single ounce of creepiness that is directed her way, she kind of responds with a whole nother level of creepiness that most of usually it is men that tell her this creepy stuff in the movie. So she actually makes it sound both funny and creepier than what they intended at the same time. I think it's such a good, it's a gift that Uma Thurman gives us, playing this character with just hints of Mae West, big Tallulah Bankhead vibes as well. But she kind of elevates the creepiness, but it's also funny because it's just neon and she's dressed outrageously. Yeah. So it never goes intensely sleazy, but it is. She just gives it back twofold to anyone.
I love that as well because, being sleazy men, they're into it. They're like, oh, yeah. Whereas we know as the viewer, She's got ulterior motives here, man.
Yeah.
Don't fall for it. She's gonna get you.
I think it comes from that thing that you were mentioning before, that she's just not afraid. She's like, no, I can 100% kill all of these dudes.
Yeah.
Like without batting an eyelash. And I've got Bane. So there's absolutely zero fear. So of course it's just zinger after zinger.
Yeah. And just is that it is a both in she knows she's going to destroy them, but it is a very come hither as well. It's like, catch me if you can. Like that kind of it's innuendos upon innuendos. Because it means even more in the light of recent events where, of course, the villain says you look good enough to eat, when we know that heroes don't do that. Batman himself would never use that threat. But of course, the skeevy Doug Hitchinson villain would say something that horrible.
Yeah.
And of course, we get the little tap of the Bane's turbo button. He once again joins the turbo team.
Yay.
I'm not entirely sure, again, the ideas behind Jason Woodrew's selling of Bane, because we do know later on, once the venom comes out of him, he just goes back to being Antonio Diego, like little shriveled little tiny guy. So when he was selling people the super soldiers, would he have to keep selling them like booster venom packs as well, to be like, well, you have to replace it every like 10 days or whatever?
I mean, that's the real business. That's the real business model there.
Yeah,
like it's not you don't just sell them the venom once. You have to keep them coming back to replenish, because otherwise their super soldiers won't be super soldiers for very long. And that's kind of smart.
Yeah, it's the opposite of Captain America in that regard. Because I think when Steve Rogers gets injected, he's just Captain America. I think there've been comic storylines where he's had it like, the super soldier serum removed and stuff, and he goes back to being a normal guy. But once it's in, it's kind of baked into him. Whereas this seems to be like, I don't know if it's just constantly having to circulate through his bloodstream, and then pressing the turbo button amps in even more or something. But it's
one of those things, we don't know how it fully works, and I don't care in a way.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. I get it. You slap the button, he powers up. That's all I need to know. Cool.
The thing that I'm seeing, though, that it could have been a business empire. You're almost like, oh man, if Jason Woodrew wasn't such an asshole, I would have been like, yeah, good for you, man, building an active working business, because it's an ideal business model of like, just you supply something and then you're the only person someone can go to get reboosts of the thing that they constantly need and stuff. So.
That happens in life, though, doesn't it? You get companies doing that, and that's how you end up getting ripped off, because they can charge what they want.
That's probably what he's planning to do too. So
what you do is you sell the initial product at a cheap price, and then you sell the refills and stuff at a high price.
Yeah,
like razors.
And then you can do whole subscription services. It's smart.
It's like, we just need to formulate our own super soldier serum.
Easy.
And then we've cracked the code right here now. So
well, we can get on it after this recording. We'll start learning. It can't be that hard.
But so we do get this business now with the whip chains. Where there's a whip, there's a way, as they used to say in the old Return of the King movie. Again, Lord of the Rings, it's all we've been in.
Everything's connected. I have a question about these chains. Did they buy these, or have they painted them themselves?
I think they painted them.
Yeah.
I really think they did. I don't think there's a market for neon-colored, glow-in-the-dark chains.
Well, they're very well painted if they've done them themselves. Look at that. That's a lovely finish.
I guess I'm telling you, man. I think these guys are nerds. I think they like, oh, we're gonna be the cool Gollum gang, and we'll wear like green neon face paint, and we'll have like Aladdin saying lightning strikes down our face, and we'll paint their chains so they match and stuff. And they think they're the coolest guys in the world, and this is all fronting, because we see how like easily they're dispatched, like within seconds. Like,
they're useless. They're absolutely useless.
Yeah, but I will say though, I never personally wore these types of hoodies, but I did know, like, again, this movie ahead of its time. I knew people in the early 2000s where wouldn't have had the face paint, but the rest of the attire would have been very par for the course.
Oh yeah. It's like a kind of, what do you call it? I don't know. There was like a weird thing where there were people into like, it was almost like a rave music, but mixed with like alternative-y rock.
I think it was called like New Rave, wasn't it?
No, that was a little bit later though.
Yeah.
But it's just maybe that shoots out of it, yeah.
I was going to sell it as very garish emo, because I just knew a lot of garish emos. Did you have a past of being a garish emo? Can you step in, or you're like, no?
I mean, I was definitely an emo. I was not garish. I was very much on the goth persuasion.
It was a very brief period where emo kids just decided, I'm going to be neon for 6 months.
I understand now because if people don't know, you co-host a show with Clarice Lockery, who is like she's been on a couple of seasons now. And as every time anything comes out, like, you know, that new Addams Family came out, and you could see Clarice's one-line review of like, wasn't goth enough. She's just like, it wasn't goth enough for my sensibilities.
Yeah, we do a show together recapping American Horror Story. We're on season 5 now, and also doing American Horror Stories. And yeah, I think we're both kind of grown up Wednesday Addamses.
Hey.
Oh, there's announced today too that Luis Guzman is playing Gomez in the
Yes,
Tim Burton.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm interested. That's casting a little bit, further afield than Tim has been doing lately.
Yeah, it's like, it's very. It also seems much because I think the show is going to be so much more concentrated on Wednesday. Like when people were saying they wanted like Johnny Depp and stuff, it's like, well, you'd have to pay him the Johnny Depp prices, whereas Luis Guzman's probably significantly cheaper if Gomez is but a minor part that only recurs every couple of episodes.
And with
or
less
something.
controversy attached at the moment.
Of course, yes.
Well, as far as I'm aware, has Luis Guzman been cancelled? I don't know.
No, I mean he's still the patron saint of Greendale Community College.
Thank God.
So...
I'm so used to loving someone, and then it turns out, oh no, you're not, like, they're awful. You're like, oh no, I didn't realize. I'm sorry. I'm
very excited to see who they cast as Morticia. Has it been announced yet? They haven't announced who they've cast as Morticia, right?
I mean, the dream cast would be Eva Green, who I'd also want as my dream casting for Poison Ivy too, quite frankly. But
because her name is Green,
she does have that vibe. No, because she does have that over the top campy approach sometimes as well, especially in her work with Tim Burton.
Yeah, she'd be great at it, and she's one of those kind of actors who can use like sexuality in a powerful way that Ivy needs. I think it's like that's a weapon against people. I think Eva Green can do that. She's done it in other films.
I'm curious now though, because we do know that Margot Robbie is out saying she's actively pursuing getting the Harley Ivy romance in a movie, and then there was a little quibble there where there was some headline with her saying she wanted to kind of like take a break from playing Harley. She's revoked that this week and said, no, that I said that when I'd done 2 movies back to back. I've had a break now. I'm ready to play the character again. But I can imagine like Eva Green might be almost too serious an actress to go up against, like the kind of
I don't know,
zany...
guys. Have you seen Dumbo? I think we're past that.
That's a good point. And plus, you can stretch your acting chops. Maybe she wants to, like in Dumbo.
Yeah. I suppose too, Ivy does kind of need to almost be like the straight, ironically enough, the straight man next to to Harley. But I think I was always going for...
It needs to. There cannot be a single straight element in a Harley Quinn Poison Ivy movie.
Agreed.
Like, no. All the heteronormative agenda needs to be left out, like thrown out the window. Just let's absolutely burn everything down. No, not a single straight character, please, in this mythical Harley and Poison Ivy film.
I think my current... I was going for Ivy casting. I had Aubrey Plaza down for a long time. I think I'm switched now to Natasha Demetriou from What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh God, yes.
Naja.
Can we have her in everything, please?
I feel she could really bring some good, probably enough vampy, levels to Poison Ivy. Or that'd be like our Milana Weintraub. The jokes make themselves already. But she was recently in a movie called Werewolves Within, where she played essentially what you thought to be the manic pixie dream girl, and then at the end was revealed like it was all kind of like almost like a Poison Ivy level ploy of like, you think I was actually that person? I was doing that to manipulate you this whole time and stuff. And I think she's due a big break. People, I think in America, everyone knows her as the AT&T girl, but she pops up in things here and then over here. But have you got any dream castings for Poison Ivy yourself, Anna?
But you know what? I'm just thinking as you're talking. Aubrey Plaza is a really good one. You know who would actually be also good? Do you guys watch Good Girls? That Netflix show with Christina Hendricks.
Oh, I haven't, but it
There's
got recommended to me just yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
This might be a little left field one. I'm just looking up the name of the actress. Oh, I'm so bad. I forgot her name. So it's Retta, it's Christina Hendricks, Mae Whitman is who I'm thinking. Mae Whitman, who played Anne on Arrested Development and also
Yeah.
is in The Dove. And
Yeah.
she had a small role in Scott Pilgrim as well. And that's the one where I'm thinking, like, if you give her something really sort of mean and juicy and campy, she's so good at it. And I think
Mm.
she'd be an unexpected casting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Although I think
like
she also played George Clooney's daughter in One Fine Day, I believe, way back in the 90s. So it's all tying in together right there. It turns
Oh,
out
God.
Poison Ivy was Batman's daughter the whole time.
What? I never
I'm
saw
ready
it
for
coming.
that though.
I would love that. Actually, would be a really good one too. Although you would get people like Poison Ivy coming into people, you'd be just willing her to say "prepare to die," obviously, and stuff. You're like, oh, just say it, May. Come on. But she could bring the Mae West vibe back as well. It's like it's in the name. Why not?
I
Or-
think that Mae West vibe needs to be permanently attached to the character.
Mm.
I have two very wild, very different suggestions actually, now that I'm thinking about Poison Ivy. On the younger spectrum, Zendaya can do anything she wants. I think
Oh,
she'd
yes.
be
Oh,
amazing
Of
at
course,
it.
Yeah.
And also that Mae West vibe, that just like powerful, very sexualized, but very kind of using her sexuality as a weapon in her arsenal. Rihanna.
Oh, that'd be a different
Um,
choice. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I specifically was thinking about that one video she has with Mads Mikkelsen where she beats him up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of her music, but I've watched that video many times.
I just remember loving the gif of when the interview with Mads and the guy from Rogue One. And the interviewer says, like, oh, Mads, so you were in the video for, bitch better have my money. And he's like, that's right, yes. And the other guy's like, you were in that. And he's like, yes, I was the bitch. Yes.
Hey, Mads
He's so
knows-
proud. He's really not, like nodding like, yeah, that was me. He's just so happy he was in the video.
Mads knows his place.
He does. And also, frankly, who wouldn't be proud to be Rihanna's bitch?
Yeah.
Show me one
exactly.
person.
But then also both me and Niall are Mads bitches. So
I think we actually had
Same
Mads
here.
down for recast Mr. Freeze. And it's like, if you got, him and Rihanna reunited on
Yeah.
screen. Just remaking Batman and
Yes.
Robin.
oh,
That was
love
Matt
it.
Reeves' whole goal. Was like, it was all a ploy to just get me in position to remake Batman and Robin.
why not? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get those characters back. Something I didn't need is what happens next, right? When they attack him with the chains. Great Ivy just sort of being amused. I love that. But then Bane attacks them by slamming the floorboards.
Yes.
Did any of us really expect the comedy sound effect that comes with that?
No.
Why did they add
No.
this? It's a cool scene, and I like him slamming the floorboards and they go flying. But they add in like a whoop.
It's really reminded me, as have many things in the past two movies, of Power Rangers.
Yes.
Like, what do you call them? Like Bunk and Skull? Those two kind of bullies used to always get up to crazy excavate. I always remember associating those kind of comedy sound effects with them, where they'd get thrown away by a monster or something, and then they'd go running off and stuff. And it really felt like that to me.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I guess the violence in this film, as in the Power Rangers movie, which I also watched a lot as a teenager, it's very much, I think, kind of approaching comic book adaptations quite literally.
Yeah.
So they see this whole kapow, poof thing, and they'd be like, let's do that, but with cinema. And it just makes the violence completely unviolent. It's cartoonish. It's very unreal and obviously completely bloodless.
Okay.
And like there's no pain, there's no bruising. It's just flinging things. And I think the sound effects just kind of reinforce that approach of being, guys, don't worry, this is for kids. This is for kids. This is, comic strip stuff.
Yeah.
Which is not the way that I look at comics or graphic novels, by the way. But I think that sort of slight condescension is there, and it's also kind of part of the time, like that first approach to adapting superheroes and comic book properties was very, very literal. They're like, oh, these are just for kids. So, we have to make them for kids. And because it's for kids, we need to make the violence really cartoony.
Yeah.
And very much like it doesn't really merit and it doesn't really have any effects, right? So like even when Bane throws all of these Dungeons and Dragons nerds like behind him, they just disappear. They don't get hurt. There's no sound. There's nothing.
It's
just
yeah. Like that's the weird thing. It tells you everything you need to know about the entire film. I think that because the villains run away in any other sort of version of Batman, Bane would kill them.
Oh yeah, I think in the original script it had him. He just goes around like tearing their heads off and everything. Like he slaughters this room of people. But and my biggest gripe with it is not so much the sound effect, is that the one shot they have to convey that he's flipping them over, it's clearly like two guys on a plank.
Yeah.
Just flying towards the camera, and we're supposed to take it as like at 6 people, and that he lifted the entire floor, I guess. I don't even think Doug Hitchinson was on the floor. Yeah. I thought Doug Hitchinson was like on the stone in between everything. So I was like, where'd he go? Like,
I don't want everything dark and grisly, but I want Bane to just kill them all. I think that it suits the scene. Well, either that or they become Ivy's gang, which, as we talked about, they don't.
Yes.
Or maybe Bane kills one of them, and then they get really freaked out, and then she magics them, the remaining guys.
Oh, they do that thing where he kills one of them, and then they're like, "You got moxie, kid. You could be in our gang now."
That'd be great. Ivy's not the leader, or Bane. They're accepted into the gang.
Ivy's just like, oh, I think I had a guy, but apparently he impressed the Dungeon and Dragons crew so much that he just ran off and joined them.
But when they do run away, Ivy calls for the redecoration to begin. And this is where I wanted the Queer Eye gang to turn up. Jonathan Van Ness needs to be in this film if they remake it.
Oh, this is very much Bobby's territory, though. He's the redecorating guru.
My God, yeah. Can we just get them all, please? That'd be great.
I mean, I don't think Anthony's talents are really necessary for this.
I know, but everybody just thinks he's sexy.
Well, if there's a corgi in the mix, I'm sure he's going to be happy.
I mean, this movie is, I was going to say it's not above eye candy. It readily wallows in its levels of eye candy. So, yeah, if you get someone there just for the sake of being good looking, Joel Schumacher would be like, fine. Yeah,
I want Anthony to play Nightwing. He'd make a good Nightwing.
We're going to go into renovation talk, but of course that's all next minute.
Yeah.
Don't know if anyone got anything else for minute 58?
No, I'm noted out.
I think I've said everything I had to say, especially about Poison Ivy.
Well, Anna, would you like to tell people where you can be found online or promote your show or anything like that?
Oh, thank you, guys. So mostly, sometimes I forget to post the stuff that I do, but most of my work can be found on my Twitter at Anna B Demented. I host The Next Supremes with Clarice Luckery, which is all about American Horror Story. And I also host the Final Girls podcast, which is all exploring the horror films, and we'll be announcing our next season very soon over the coming weeks. We're currently on hiatus, but we'll also be dropping something next week, which will be quite fun, just a mini series. And you can also find us on our Patreon at patreon.com/The Final Girls.
Check all of that stuff out, and check us out on Facebook, the Bat Minute Listeners Cave, Twitter at Bat Minute, Instagram, the Bat Minute, and our Patreon, the Sleepy Charlie Media Patreon, where you can get loads of wonderful, cool, exciting stuff like us talking about the new Batman 89 comic. We'll have done that by now.
Yeah. That's, I don't know how that comic could even be finished by the time these episodes come out. The buffer zone's unwieldy these days.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're well ahead of schedule. Join us again on Wednesday. This is a Monday episode, isn't it?
Yes.
See, the buffer zone's so unwieldy, I don't even remember what day it is. Join us again on Wednesday.
Back next week. We're talking about Batman Begins. I don't know what fucking movie we're even on anymore.
Hey, you're the one who always introduces the wrong film. And yes, we will see you then, Batmites.
Next time. So it's a bit of a fixer-upper, it might seem like a pain, but Ivy can fix this fixer-upper with a little bit of Bane. There's radical renovations made by the Ronnie of Ruination as she lays down roots for a new forest of fornication. But can a sprinkling of dust from the Lady of Lust help new things sprout within the barren grout that was left by the louts who were chased by the Bane who walked down the lane that leads to the house that Ivy built? The answer awaits on Wednesday, Bat fans. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.
We'll be back.